you all to lecture number 15. So before I start with today's topic, so I'm going to spend some time to clear your doubts if you have regarding my previous class on your fuzzy logic and fuzzy sets. So if you have any doubt, so you can ask me one after another. I'll try my level best to clear your doubts. Then I'm going to start with today's topic. So please, if you have any doubt, you ask me one at a time.
Sir,
please.
So suppose, like for an example, in the example which you gave earlier, like in which you considered, let's say, 10, the university is having at least 10 good quality departments. So that would be a fuzzy set. So what would happen if I, let's say, uniformize, if I define the definition of good and set some criteria, would it become a crisp set then?
No, because the way we human beings define that particular adjective good, that varies from person to person. You may say that Mr. X is a very good person. Another person will say, no, he is not so much good. Another person will, no, he is the best person. So that type of uncertainty is bound to come for any real world problem that you cannot avoid. Okay. So this type of uncertainty cannot be avoided. Okay. So this type of fuzzy set cannot be brought to the crisp set. Never. It is not possible. That is the reality of the world. You'll have to accept that. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. So, sir, with the definition there, in real world, there are no crisp set, right? All of the sets which exist are fuzzy sets. Would it be fair to say that?
Most of the things are fuzzy in nature. In fact, I'll just copy one sentence from Professor Jade. Professor Jade, you know, he is father of fuzzy logic. So he used to say, he is no more now. He used to say that the whole world is fuzzy. Okay. So he used to utter this particular the word. I'm fortunate I could meet him only once in Japan in 2000, say in one conference. But he used to utter that particular sentence. The whole world is fuzzy. Okay. So most of the things are fuzzy in nature. Okay.
Yes, sir. I understand. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Sir?
Please.
Sir, yesterday you have told regarding the convex versus non-convex membership function.
Yes.
The concept regarding the same is clear to me, but the doubt is regarding the mathematical expression.
Mathematical expression, what you do, you take a fixed value of lambda lying between 0 and 1, say 0.4. Okay. Now on the fuzzy set, one is convex, another is non-convex. Okay. You within that particular range of x, you consider a number of values for this x, like x1, x2, another set of x1, x2, another set of x1, x2, and you go on checking. Okay. You consider 10 such sets of x1 and x2, and you go on checking that particular relation. If it holds good, it is a convex. If it does not hold good, even for one combination, it is non-convex. Okay. Please spend some time. Take a numerical value for lambda, assign different values for x1 and x2, check that relationship. If you find that it is not working, at least for one set of x1 and x2, you declare this is non-convex. Okay? Any other doubts? No doubt. Now, can I start with today's topic? So let us start with today's topic. Okay. Now, we are going to discuss the grammar of fuzzy sets, and you'll see that The grammar of fuzzy set is very simple. And this grammar of fuzzy set can be used to solve different types of real world problems. Okay. Now to discuss on the grammar of fuzzy sets, I'll have to define a few terms. Then I'll have to discuss a few relations. Okay. So I'm just going to concentrate on the few definitions first. Okay. The first term which I'm going to define is alpha cut of a fuzzy set. Fuzzy set, you know, that is denoted by AX. And to represent that particular AX is nothing but X such that it has got the property mu X. Mu X is nothing but the membership function value. For example, say it is read with membership function value 0.8. Another person will say it is read with membership function value 0.4 and so on. Okay. So you know how to represent a particular the fuzzy set. Now how to define alpha cut of a fuzzy set. Now this alpha varies from 0 to 1. So it could be 0 cut of a fuzzy set or 1 cut of a fuzzy set or 0.5 cut of a fuzzy set or 0.6 cut of a fuzzy set and so on. Okay. So by definition, alpha cut of a fuzzy set, alpha mu AX. So this is the symbol which I am going to use to represent alpha cut of a fuzzy set. This is nothing but a set consisting of elements small x of the universal set capital X whose membership values are either greater than or equal to the value of alpha. Okay, so I've got a universal set, and within that universal set, I've defined one fuzzy set AX. Now I'll consider a subset of that particular set, which is nothing but alpha cut. Okay, and I'll try to find out a set consisting of elements small x whose membership function values are either greater than or equal to alpha. Okay, I'm just going to take one example, things will be clear. Okay, now mathematically, alpha mu x, that is nothing but alpha cut of a fuzzy set, is nothing but x such that mu ax is greater than equal alpha. Okay, now I'll be moving very slow because I am unable to write on the board. Okay, if I can write on the board, things becomes very simple for me to explain. So I'll be moving very slow. Let me repeat. Alpha mu AX, that is nothing but the alpha cut of a fuzzy set, is nothing but X such that mu AX is greater than alpha. Now, graphically, I'm just going to show you what does it mean. Okay. Now, supposing that you can see this is a fuzzy set. So this triangular fuzzy set, that is nothing but AX. So AX is nothing but a fuzzy set. And alpha is defined here. You can see on the scale of mu, I'm showing you alpha, and alpha varies from 0 to 1. For example, alpha could be 0.4, 0.5, even a 1, or it could be 0.0 also. The moment we consider a particular value for this particular alpha, so I can draw this particular your horizontal line. Okay, and if I draw this horizontal line corresponding to this value of alpha, I'll find that here there is one intersection point with AX, another intersection point with AX. Corresponding to this intersection point, so this is the value of X. Corresponding to this intersection point, so this is the value of X. Now, starting from here up to this, okay, this particular subset is nothing but your alpha cut of the fuzzy set AX. I think I'm clear to all of you. So alpha cut of a fuzzy set is nothing but a subset starting from here up to this, okay? And this particular subset is a subset of the bigger set, that is X, okay? So this particular subset is known as your alpha cut. Now here your membership value is greater than equals to alpha. So if it is equal to alpha, so these are the intersection point, and I will be getting the corresponding x. Intersection point, I will be getting the corresponding x. If I take a value of alpha greater than that, what will happen? My alpha will be here, so my horizontal line will be here. I will be getting one intersection point, another intersection point, and I will be getting the subset something like this, which is smaller compared to the previous subset. Okay, so I hope I'm clear regarding the definition of this particular term, alpha cut of a fuzzy set. Okay. Now, there is another term which is very frequently used in literature, that is called strong alpha cut of a fuzzy set. So I'm just going to add one adjective, that is strong alpha cut. So strong is the word which I'm going to add. So strong alpha cut of a fuzzy set is nothing but alpha mu x plus. You see, I put a plus symbol here. That means your strong alpha cut of a fuzzy set. So plus symbol indicates strong alpha cut of a fuzzy set. That is nothing but x, such that mu a x is greater than alpha. Now you see equal sign is missing here. Okay. So if I say it is a strong alpha cut, so this mu a x will be greater than alpha, and your equal sign I have deleted. That is by the definition of your strong alpha cut of a fuzzy set. Okay. So I think it is clear to all of you. Now I'm just going to solve one numerical example related to alpha cut of a fuzzy set to make it more clear. Okay. Now the way I have designed this numerical example is as follows. So I'm just going to represent a fuzzy set using the Gaussian distribution with mean m equals to 100 and standard deviation sigma is equals to 20. Please stop your audio. Ankit Pandey, stop your audio. The membership function distribution is nothing but the Gaussian distribution with mean m equals to 100 and standard deviation sigma is equals to 20. Now I'll have to find out 0.6 cut of this particular the distribution. So how to find out the 0.6 cut of this particular the distribution? You know, the mathematical expression of Gaussian distribution is nothing but mu equals to 1 divided by e raised to the power half into x minus m divided by sigma square. So this is the mathematical expression for the Gaussian distribution. Where m is nothing but the mean and sigma is nothing but the standard deviation. Okay. Now this is 0.6 cut. So in place of mu, I'm just going to put 0.6. Now if I do like this, and if I take log, that is the natural log, that is ln on both the sides, so very easily I'll be able to solve for x. Now I can write down very easily like the way I have written it here. 0.6 is nothing but 1 divided by e raised to the power half x minus m is equals to 100 divided by sigma equals to 20 square. So this is nothing but the Gaussian distribution with mean equals to m equals to 100 and alpha is equals to 0.6. So this is your intersection point. Take the projection on the x. So this is going to indicate, this subset is going to indicate your alpha cut or 0.6 cut of the Gaussian distribution. Now if I take log, so this particular expression can be simplified e raised to the power half x minus 100 divided by 20 square is nothing but 1 divided by 0.6. Now I'm taking natural log on both the sides. If you take natural log on both the sides and simplify, you will be able to solve for x. X will be 79.7846 and another value will be 120.2153. Now here, so this particular point represents 79.7846 and this is your 120.2153. Starting from here up to this, so this particular subset is going to represent 0.6 cut of this Gaussian membership function distribution. So I think I'm clear to all of you. Okay. So this is the concept of your alpha cut of a fuzzy set. Now I'm going to define a few more terms. All of you please listen to me very carefully and I'll be moving very slow. The next term is nothing but support of a fuzzy set AX. How can you define the support of a fuzzy set? Support of a fuzzy set is defined as the set of all x belonging to capital X such that mu AX is greater than alpha. Okay. Now you remember. See, you try to remember the scale for mu. It starts from 0 and it ends at 1.0. So mu AX is greater than 1. Okay, what does it mean? It means that I'm getting the values of x as support such that mu AX is greater than alpha. Are you getting my point? I'm not putting equal to alpha. So I'm putting only mu AX is greater than alpha. Okay. So I hope you have understood what do you mean by the support. Okay. For example, say, let me just go back to the previous example. Okay. So mu AX is greater than 0. So this is exactly 0. So greater than 0 means it is a limiting condition and I'm above. Okay, up to 1. What does it mean? It means that support is nothing but starting from here up to this, but it is not going to touch the limiting condition which corresponds to alpha equals to 0.0 or mu equals to 0.0. So that particular limiting condition I'm not going to touch. Okay. But your alpha or your mu is greater than 0. So support of a fuzzy set is nothing but starting from here up to this point is very close to that particular point. This point is very close to that particular point, but they are not coinciding by definition. Okay. Now, if it is so, then we can call the support of a fuzzy set is nothing but its strong zero cut. You know what do you mean by strong alpha cut? Put alpha equals to 0. So the support of a fuzzy set is nothing but strong zero cut. I think I'm clear to all of you. Okay. Now then comes your another term, scalar cardinality of a fuzzy set. If you remember, the way we explain or the way we represent the discrete fuzzy set, which is something like this. So I'm just going to show the next slide, you'll understand. So this is the way actually we represent the discrete fuzzy set. So AX is a fuzzy set having a number of elements like x1, x2, x3, x4. So the membership value corresponding to x1 is 0.1. Membership value corresponding to x2 is 0.2. Membership value corresponding to x3 is 0.3. Membership value corresponding to x4 is 0.4. So this is the way we represent the discrete fuzzy set. This is one way of doing, and as I discussed in the last class, the same discrete fuzzy set can be represented as 0.1 plus x1 not divided by 0.2 plus x2, 0.3 plus x3, 0.4 plus x4. This is another way of representing that particular your discrete fuzzy set. Now, if this is the discrete fuzzy set, then how to define its scalar cardinality? The scalar cardinality of this particular fuzzy set X is denoted by this symbol. This is the mod symbol you can see. So mod X is nothing but summation mu Ax. So we sum all the membership function values. Okay. And the moment you are going to sum this membership function value, it could be less than equals to 1. It could be equal to 1. It could be even more than 1, because I'm going to consider the summation of the mu values. This is not the individual mu value. Individual mu value cannot exceed 1. But the moment we consider summation, so the scalar cardinality of a fuzzy set, it could be less than 0, it could be less than 1, it could be equal to 1, it could be more than 1. But individual membership function value cannot exceed 1. Okay. So this is the concept of scalar cardinality. Now here I'm just going to take the help of one numerical example. Okay. Now if this is actually the fuzzy set, okay, the discrete fuzzy set, the scalar cardinality that is denoted by mod X is nothing but the sum of all mu values 0.1 plus 0.2 plus 0.3 plus 0.4, that is equals to, fortunately it has become 1.0. Okay, it could be less than 1.0, it could be more than 1.0. Now here I'm just going to make some comment. Okay, comment in the sense, remember in the grammar of fuzzy set, the mathematical concept which we are going to use is very simple. Okay, and fortunately or unfortunately, our brain follows this type of mathematical operation. Okay, remember one thing, our brain cannot directly solve any differential equation. You take it from me, 100% guaranteed. No human brain can solve the differential equation. Okay, it could be a very simple differential equation, human brain will fail automatically. Human brain solve various complex real world problem using a very simple relation. And you'll be astonished, by using the concept of fuzzy set, I'm just going to your own brain. So I'm going to model the way human brain takes the decision. And let me repeat, human brain does not solve any differential equation to solve any decision or to take any decision. Human brain does all such simple calculations. Okay, in fact, is does just like your computer. Computer doesn't do your not even your multiplication and division. It takes the help of addition and subtraction. Okay, similarly, human brain does all small calculation, and it has the ability to solve the complex problem. And how does it work? So I'm just going to explain, and you'll be astonished to know. Okay, now all such things are done by your human brain very quickly within a fraction of seconds. Okay, and how does it work? As I told, I'll be discussing in much more details, and all of you will become astonished to know the way our brain works. Okay, now so the scalar cardinality is nothing but the sum of the mu values, and fortunately it is actually 1.0. Okay, and another thing which I was planning to tell you but I forgot, that whenever I'm just going to discuss the principle of the grammar of the fuzzy set, I'm going to take a small numerical example because I'm unable to write on the board. So I'm just going to take, for each of these, I'm just going to take one numerical example so that things becomes very clear to all of you. Okay, and you'll see at the end, the grammar of fuzzy set is very simple. Okay. Next is your core of a fuzzy set. How to define the core of a fuzzy set? Core of a fuzzy set is nothing but it's one card. You know what is alpha cut and what is one cut? One cut is what? So alpha becomes greater than equals to 1. Okay, it cannot be greater than 1, so it will become equal to 1. Okay, and if alpha becomes equal to 1, okay, I'll be getting one crisp value on x. I hope I'm clear to all of you. So let me just go back to that particular previous picture. Things will be very much clear. Okay. Now here, so this is a fuzzy set X. Now corresponding to this mu equals to 1 or alpha equals to 1. So I'm just going to come here. Okay. Only one point, not a collection of points, where alpha is exactly equal to 1.0. If I take the projection on x, theoretically speaking, I'll be getting only one value of x. Are you getting my point? Now, that particular value of x is what? That particular value of x, by definition, is nothing but core of a fuzzy set. That is known as core of a fuzzy set. Okay. Now, then comes your height of a fuzzy set, another term. So height of a fuzzy set is defined as the largest of membership values of the elements contained in that particular set. Let me repeat. Height of a fuzzy set is nothing but the largest of membership values of the elements contained in that particular set. Okay. So once again, let me go back to that particular same figure. You'll understand what do you mean by height of a fuzzy set. So here, the maximum value of mu is 1. So this is going to indicate actually the height of a fuzzy set. I hope I'm clear to all of you. So this is actually the highest of all the membership function values or largest of membership function values of the element contained in that particular set is nothing but the height of a fuzzy set. Now, what is the maximum value of height of a fuzzy set? Very simple. It is 1.0. What is the minimum value of the height of a 0? Theoretically speaking, it is 0.0, and height could lie in between also 0 and 1.0. Now, based on this particular height of the fuzzy set, the fuzzy set can be classified into normal fuzzy set and subnormal fuzzy set. Now, if the height is found to be equal to 1.0, okay, the figure which I showed you, that is nothing but the normal fuzzy set. And if the height is found to be less than 1.0, that is known as the subnormal fuzzy set. Okay, so I hope you got the idea of normal fuzzy set and subnormal fuzzy set. Okay, so I'm just going to define so many such terms, but these are all very simple. I hope you got the idea of the different terms used in the grammar of fuzzy set. Now I'm just going to concentrate on some standard operations used in fuzzy set. Why do you need all such standard operations? You need all such standard operations because there is a call from Puspendra. Just a minute. Puspendra, what? Problem in the sense? What type of problem? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you, but your
Yes, sir.
one of your teams,
Yes, sir, we
there is some problem.
can hear you.
Okay, fine. So let me continue. Okay. Now I'm just going to concentrate on some standard operations in fuzzy set. Okay. Now these standard operations are used in the grammar of fuzzy set so that we can solve some real world problem. You'll see I'm just going to solve a number of real world problems, and you will be astonished that that type of complex real world problems can be solved using the concept of fuzzy set so easily. Okay, now you just wait a little bit and let me discuss some standard operations used in fuzzy set, and in future to solve the real world problem we are going to use all such standard operations. Okay. Now, the first thing which I'm going to discuss is the proper subset of a fuzzy set. Now, supposing that I've got two fuzzy sets, AX and BX, okay, and small x belong to capital X, that is the universe of discourse. Now, I'm just going to compare these two fuzzy sets, AX and BX, defined in the same universe of discourse. Okay. Now, AX is a proper subset of BX if mu AX is found to be less than mu BX. Let me repeat. AX is called the proper subset of BX if mu AX is found to be less compared to your mu BX. So I'm just going to show you how to check it. Okay, so I'm just going to check it whether AX is a proper subset of BX or not. Okay, so I'm just going to take one numerical example. Supposing that the fuzzy set AX is such, AX is nothing but x1, 0.1, x2, 0.2, x3, 0.3, x4 with membership function value 0.4, and Bx is nothing but x1, 0.5, x2, 0.7, x3, 0.8, x4, 0.9. Okay. Now, if this is the situation, so what it is?
Hello, sir.
Tell me.
Yes, sir. Pardon my interruption, sir. Sir, are you in the 35th slide, sir?
No, I'm on the 42nd. Okay, I'm on the
Okay,
42nd. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir, it's showing
Now,
35th slide to me.
so I
Yes, sir.
cannot help you. Some of you might have changed. I cannot help you. Let me proceed. Okay. Now,
Okay, sir.
this AX and BX are two fuzzy sets. Okay. Now, this AX and BX, I'll have to compare element-wise their mu values. Okay. So, corresponding to this particular x1, corresponding to this particular x1, so I have got 0.1 and 0.5. So if I compare, 0.1 is found to be less than 0.5. Okay, then corresponding to x2, it is 0.2 and 0.7. Okay, so 0.2 is less than 0.7. Corresponding to x3, it is 0.3 and 0.8. 0.3 is less than 0.8. Okay. Then corresponding to x4, it is 0.4 and 0.9. And 0.4 is less than 0.9. That means your mu AX is less than mu BX. Okay. And we can call that AX is a proper subset of BX because all the mu values corresponding to AX are found to be corresponding mu value of your BX. Now, can you see slide number 42? Hello.
Yes, sir. 42
Yes,
is
sir.
visible.
Okay, sir. Good.
Yes, sir.
Let me proceed. Okay.
Sir.
So please do not change. I'll give you enough time at the end. Let me discuss first. Okay. At the end, there will be doubt clearing session. Please wait. Now, this is the concept of your proper subset. Okay. Now, I'm going to discuss another concept that is called the concept of equal fuzzy sets. Okay. Two fuzzy sets, that is AX and BX, are found to be equal. Okay. If their mu values, individual mu values, are found to be equal. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to compare, okay, element wise their membership function values. Please stop your audio. Sumant Kumar Singh, stop your audio. Stop your audio, Sumant. So the concept of equal fuzzy sets. So I'm just going to take one example. Okay. Let us consider two fuzzy sets AX and BX. AX is nothing but x1, 0.1, x2, 0.2, x3, 0.3, x3, x4, 0.4, and bx is nothing but this. So what you have to do is element wise we'll have to compare 0.1, 0.5, they are not equal. 0.2, 0.7 are not equal. 0.3, 0.8 are not equal. 0.4 and 0.9 not equal. So mu AX is not equals to mu BX. So AX is not equal to BX. Okay. So these two fuzzy sets are not equal. This is the concept of equality of fuzzy sets. Okay. So element wise, their membership values should be equal. Then only we say that the two fuzzy sets AX and BX are equal. Okay. Another concept which is very important, that is nothing but the complement of a fuzzy set. Now supposing that I have got a fuzzy set denoted by AX, okay, its complement is nothing but is your AX bar. AX bar. Stop your audio. Stop your audio. Now, a fuzzy set is denoted by AX, okay, and its complement AX bar is nothing but 1 minus AX, okay. Now, you concentrate on this particular figure. So, this triangle is going to represent the fuzzy set that is AX. Are you getting my point? Now, its complement corresponding to this value of X, what is the value of mu? Mu equals to 0. So 1 minus 0, that is 1. So I am here. Okay. Now corresponding to this value of X, what is the value of mu on X? That is 1.0. So 1 minus 1.0 is 0. So I will be getting for the complement, the mu value is 0. Okay. So this is your fuzzy set X. Its complement is nothing but, so this V separate thing. Okay. So this is nothing but the complement of your this triangular membership function distribution. I hope I'm clear to all of you. Now physically, what does it mean? Supposing that AX represents the color red, like your red apple. What does its complement mean? Complement is nothing but not red. Okay. So if AX is nothing but the red color of apple, okay, and its complement is going to represent the membership function distribution for being not red. So this linguistic term, red is a linguistic term, not red, almost red. These are all linguistic terms on the quality. Okay. Now this is actually your the complement of a fuzzy set. Okay. So this is actually the concept of complement. Now I am going to take one numerical example. Okay. Now this numerical example is as follows. Supposing that AX is nothing but x1, 0.1, x2, 0.2, x3, 0.3, x4, 0.4. Now its complement AX bar is nothing but x1, 0.9. So 1 minus 0.1 is 0.9. Then comes x2 comma 0.8, that is 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8, and x3 comma 0.7, that is 1 minus 0.3, then x4 comma 0.6, that is nothing but 1 minus 0.4. So this is nothing but the complement, okay, of the fuzzy set, that is denoted by AX bar. Okay, I'll be using this particular concept later on also. This complement is actually very important concept of the fuzzy set. So I'll be discussing this particular thing once again while solving some other problem. Okay. Now then comes your intersection of fuzzy sets. Now I have got two fuzzy sets. One is AX, another is BX, defined in the same universe of discourse, that is capital X, and it is denoted by your A intersection BX, and it is defined as the whose membership values are determined as by using the minimum operator. So mu A intersection Bx is nothing but the minimum between the two membership values, that is mu Ax comma mu Bx. Okay, so we compare these two mu values, their membership values, and we try to find out the minimum, and that is nothing but mu A intersection Bx. This is the concept of intersection of fuzzy sets. Okay, now I'm just going to take the help of one figure. You'll understand very easily. Okay, now supposing that this triangle is going to represent a fuzzy set X, and another fuzzy set is represented by Bx. X belongs to the same universe of discourse. Supposing that this is nothing but moderate temperature, atmospheric temperature, and this is nothing but say high temperature, atmospheric temperature. Okay, now these two fuzzy sets has got one common zone. That common zone is denoted by this hash, the black portion, this hash portion. Okay, and this is nothing but the intersection. How to determine this intersection? It is very simple. So starting from here, you move along X. Okay, the moment I am here, what is the mu value corresponding to Ax? Is 0. Okay, and Bx also, as if the line is here, so that corresponds to 0. What is the value of mu Ax? Some non-zero value. Okay, and what is the mu value corresponding to B? It is 0. So you consider the 0. The moment you come here, there will be two non-zero values for the mu. This indicates mu for Ax and this indicates mu for Bx. Compare, consider the minimum. Okay, so by following the rule for intersection, you will be getting the common zone between these two fuzzy sets. Okay, that is nothing but is your shaded region, that is called the intersection, and that is your the common zone in the two fuzzy sets. Now here I'm just going to take one example, very practical example, which all of you faced on 24th during the exam. Okay, let me take a very simple example. Suddenly it came to my mind. You see, what is the nature of test I took on 24th? That is MCQ. Okay, why did I make it MCQ? Can anybody answer? Why did I make MCQ? Huh? This is made MCQ just to avoid that fuzziness, okay, in the evaluation process, okay, and there should not be any such intersection. It is very crisp. Question number 1, answer is any one out of A, B, C, D. and I have personally calculated and got the results. Okay. So this evaluation becomes very crisp. Are you getting my point? But on the other hand, if I give you one subjective question sort of thing, what will happen? There will be enough fuzziness. One of you asks me that can you remove fuzziness? In general, for the real world problem, we cannot. But we always try to make it non-fuzzy to simplify our situation, our problem. If it is made MCQ, nobody can question. No, I have not received any complaint from any one of you. Nobody complained. Okay. But had it been some sort of descriptive, the moment I give the marks for your test, there will be so many such complaints. Now there is no complaint. I hope you have understood. Okay. So that there is no intersection, no common zone between the two answer like A and B. It is very crisp and very purposefully I made it so that there should not be any common zone, any intersection. Okay. And it should be 100% clear. Okay. And there should not be any complaint from your side. I hope I am clear to all of you. Okay. Now, I hope you have understood why did I make MCQ? Why not any such descriptive question? I worked so hard to solve and made your MCQ made ready. And moreover, another thing I told you, there is no overlapping between your soft computing course and knowledge base course. Why did I do? Because in future, you may say that soft computing is 3 credit course, knowledge base system is 4 credit course. Why do you make the same question paper? Are you getting my point? So to avoid that confusion, very purposefully, I have made 2 disjoint question papers. Okay. So I hope you are clear. Why did I take that type of decision? Okay. So let me proceed further. Now I'm just going to consider the union of fuzzy sets. The two fuzzy sets AX and BX is represented by A union B X and its membership value is determined as follows. Mu A union B X is nothing but the maximum between mu AX comma mu BX. So what I do, element wise, we are going to compare the mu values or the membership function values and we are going to consider the higher value of mu. Okay. Now you take that particular example, the same example. So this is nothing but the membership function distribution for AX. This is the membership function distribution for BX. Once again, if I start from here and move towards this, so from here, I'll be getting both the mu values are 0. The moment I'm here, mu corresponding to AX is non-zero, but the mu corresponding to BX is 0. The moment I'm here, the mu corresponding to AX is this much, and the mu corresponding to your BX is this much. I'll consider the higher value. So if I just starting from here, if I move up to this, so I'll be getting this particular shaded portion is nothing but the union. Okay. And this union is nothing but the logical OR operation. And I forgot to tell you that intersection is nothing but the logical AND operation. Okay. Now this logical AND operation, logical OR operation, we are going to use to solve the real world problem. It is very interesting. Okay. And as I told, our brain most of the time works based on the principle of this very simple mathematics. Okay. Our brain cannot solve different, very complex mathematical relation. Okay. We solve all small things to solve a very big problem, real world problem. And as I told, our brain can solve easily the complex real world problem. Okay. Now, this is the numerical example. Ax is nothing but this, bx is nothing but this, okay? And if I compare the mu values 0.1, 0.5, find out the maximum 0.5, 0.2, 0.7, maximum is 0.7, 0.3, 0.8, maximum is 0.8, 0.4, 0.9, maximum is 0.9. Okay, so you can find out the union, and that is nothing but this. Okay, so this is called the concept of union of your two fuzzy set, and that is nothing but your logical and logical or operator. Let me repeat: intersection is logical and operator, and union is logical or operator. Okay. Now, algebraic product of two fuzzy sets. So I have got two fuzzy sets. How to find out the algebraic product? Okay. Now let us see. I have got two fuzzy sets, AX and BX. Their algebraic product is nothing but X such that it has got the mu. That is, mu is nothing but mu AX multiplied by mu BX. Now you see, individually, mu varies from 0 to 1. So mu AX lies between 0 and 1. Mu BX lies between 0 and 1. Okay. And if I multiply these two mu values, you'll be getting a value lying between 0 and 1. Okay. So if I find out the algebraic product of two fuzzy sets, that is denoted by AX, algebraic product BX is nothing but X such that it has got the membership function value which is equal to mu AX multiplied by mu BX. Okay, it is very simple. So I'm just going to take one numerical example. So AX is nothing but this particular discrete fuzzy set. BX is nothing but this particular fuzzy set. So AX multiplied by BX is nothing but x1. Now you multiply these two, the mu values. So 0.1 multiplied by 0.5 is 0.05. 0.2 multiplied by 0.7 is 0.14. 0.3 multiplied by 0.8 is 0.24. 0.4 multiplied by 0.9 is 0.36. Okay, so very easily you can multiply. Okay, now you may ask, why do you do all such things? These are required to solve some real world problems. We'll be discussing details in some of the next classes in C. Now, multiplication of a fuzzy set by a crisp number. Okay, supposing that I have got a fuzzy set AX, I want to multiply by a scalar quantity, crisp value. Why do you need? We need it because the membership function distribution which we are going to assume initially may not be the true distribution of the membership. Okay. Now, if I want to find out what should be the optimal distribution of this membership, how can you find out? I'll have to find out by D. Okay. And what should be the value of D? Optimal value of D? I'll have to use one optimization tool, which I've already discussed. Okay. And there, D will be one of the design variables or decision variables. Okay. So your optimization tool or optimization algorithm, say genetic algorithm or traditional tool for optimization, is going to decide what should be the value of D so that I can solve the real world problem more efficiently. How to do? I'll be discussing after some time. Okay. So this particular multiplication of a fuzzy set by a crisp number has got some physical meaning and application. Okay. Now let me take one example, very simple. AX is nothing but this fuzzy set, and the crisp number D is 0.2. So D multiplied by AX is what? x1 comma 0.1 multiplied by 0.2, that is 0.02. 0.2 multiplied by 0.2 is 0.04. 0.3 multiplied by 0.2 is 0.06. 0.4 multiplied by 0.2 is 0.08. It is very simple. Okay. In fact, when I started learning fuzzy set, I could not believe that this particular grammar is so simple. Unfortunately, I didn't get any teacher who taught me this. I have learned out of my own interest, and I have learned through my self-study and real-world applications. Okay, so nobody taught me the way I'm teaching, but I was astonished to know that it was very simple to understand. Then power of a fuzzy set. The pth power of a fuzzy set Ax is nothing but Apx, such that it has got the membership function value mu Apx, that is nothing but mu Ax raised to the power p. Okay, p is the power, pth power of a fuzzy set. Once again, why do you need? We need it because we want to determine the optimal distribution for the membership function. Okay, for example, what should be the optimal membership function distribution for high temperature? What should be the membership function distribution for the medium temperature, and so on? Okay, so once again, the value of P I can consider as one of the design variables which could be optimized using some optimization algorithm. Okay, now you see gradually I'm trying to combine the things, and some more things I'll combine, and I'll make it such a complex, not complex, rather you'll be astonished that using all such small tools, you can solve all complex real world problems very easily. And this is the way our brain solves the problem. Okay. Now, let me put some standard values for this particular P. Okay. If I put P equals to 2, that means I'm trying to find out square of that particular mu values for the fuzzy set. So if I put P equals to 2, that is called concentration of a fuzzy set. Supposing that I've got a fuzzy set for say medium temperature, that is denoted by Ax. So its concentration is nothing but A square x. Okay, P is equals to 2. There is another definition that is called dilation. Dilation of a fuzzy set, whenever we consider P equals to half, that is square root of that particular membership function values. Okay, so by dilation of a fuzzy set, we mean the power P is equal to half. Okay, so let us see how to find out the concentration and dilation. Okay, let us consider a fuzzy set like this. So Ax is nothing but this particular fuzzy set, and power P is equal to 2. So A square x, P equals to 2 here is nothing but square of 0.1. That is 0.1 multiplied by 0.1 is 0.01. 0.2 multiplied by 0.2 is 0.04, and so on. So I'll be getting the concentration of this particular the fuzzy set. Okay, and if it is dilation, so I'll have to find out the square root of this 0.01. Similarly, you can find out any power of the fuzzy set denoted by P. Okay, now comes algebraic sum of two fuzzy sets Ax and Bx. I've got two fuzzy sets Ax and Bx defined in the same universe of discourse, and Ax plus Bx is nothing but x, such that mu A plus Bx, and that mu A plus Bx is nothing but this. Let me repeat. So Ax plus Bx is nothing but x, such that it has got the membership function value denoted by mu A plus Bx, X belongs to the universe of discourse capital X, where mu A plus Bx is nothing but mu Ax plus mu Bx minus mu Ax multiplied by mu Bx. So very easily can find out the algebraic sum of your two fuzzy sets. Okay. Now it's very simple. So what I do is I've got two fuzzy sets, discrete fuzzy sets. Algebraic sum element wise, what I do 0.1 plus 0.5 is 0.6 minus 0.1 multiplied by 0.5, and if you simplify, this will become 0.55. So I think all of you got. Let me repeat. Corresponding to x1, you first add these two mu values, 0.1 plus 0.5, that is equals to 0.6 minus 0.1 multiplied by 0.5, that is your 0.05. So I'll be getting 0.55. Similarly, corresponding to x2, you'll be getting 0.76. Corresponding to x3, you'll be getting 0.86. Corresponding to x4, you'll be getting 0.94. Okay, so you'll be able to find out this type of operation. Next is your bounded sum of two fuzzy sets. Algebraic sum we have already discussed. How to determine the bounded sum of two fuzzy sets. Now this is actually the symbol used for the bounded sum. Okay, so Ax bounded sum Bx is nothing but x. Please put up your audio. Tuhin Atta, put up your audio. Put up your audio. I'm just going to note it down. Who is creating nonsense all? Okay. So be careful. Don't disturb me. Now, bounded sum of two fuzzy sets is nothing but Ax bounded sum Bx. That is your x having the membership function value, and that is equals to mu bounded sum B x. X belongs to capital X. Okay, where mu A bounded sum B x is nothing but the minimum 1 comma mu Ax plus mu Bx. Okay, so what I try to find out, you simply add them up. Okay, if you add them up, the mu values, and if you compare with 1, take the minimum, you will be able to get the mu value corresponding to this bounded sum. Let me take one example. Okay, so Ax is nothing but, so this membership function distribution, this is a fuzzy set. Bx is another fuzzy set. So Ax bounded sum Bx is nothing but the same principle you try to use. Let me show you once again. The minimum between 1 comma mu x plus mu bx. Very simple. So what you do is you simply add 0.1 and 0.5, 0.6. Compare between 0.6 and 1. Find out the minimum. Okay. Then 0.2 and 0.7 is 0.9. Compare with 1. Take the minimum. 0.3 and 0.8 is 1.1. Compare with 1.0, you'll be getting the minimum. 0.4 and 0.9 is 1.3. Compare the minimum, you'll be getting 1.0. Okay, so very easily you can find out. These are very simple mathematics. Okay, now algebraic difference of two fuzzy sets. Okay, so I have got two fuzzy sets, Ax and Bx. Their difference is denoted by Ax minus Bx. That is equals to x, such that it has got the mu A minus Bx. X belongs to capital X, where mu A minus Bx is nothing but mu A intersection B bar x. Let me repeat. Mu A minus Bx is nothing but mu A intersection B bar x. What is B bar? That is the complement of B. Okay. Now I'm just going to show you one numerical example. Now Ax is nothing but, so this particular fuzzy set, Bx is nothing but this particular fuzzy set. You find out the complement of B. To find out the complement of B corresponding to x1, so 1 minus 0.5 is 0.5. Corresponding to x2, 1 minus 0.7 is 0.3. Corresponding to x3, then it will be 1 minus 0.8 is 0.2. Corresponding to x4, this is 1 minus 0.9 is 0.1. Okay, so this is nothing but the complement. Now to find out Ax minus Bx corresponding to this particular x1, find out the minimum. 0.1 and 0.5 is 0.1. 0.2 and 0.3 is nothing but 0.2. 0.3 and 0.2 is nothing but 0.2. 0.4 and 0.1 is nothing but 0.1. So this is nothing but Ax minus Bx. So this is the way actually we can find out. Now I'm just going to concentrate on bounded difference of two fuzzy sets. That was the algebraic difference and this is the bounded difference. So Ax bounded difference, sorry, Ax bounded difference Bx is nothing but x with the membership function value, that is mu A bounded difference Bx, x belongs to capital X, and mu A bounded difference B is nothing but the maximum of 0 comma mu Ax plus mu Bx minus 1. Okay, so we'll have to add the mu value minus 1, compare with 0, take the maximum. Okay, so it's very simple. What you do is you add, then you put minus 1. You simply add 0.1 and 0.5, 0.6 minus 1 is 0.4. Now you take the maximum of your 0 and minus 0.4, that is equal to 0. So you'll be getting, corresponding to x1, you'll be getting 0.0. Similarly, 0.2 and 0.7 is 0.9. Minus 1 is minus 0.1. Find out the maximum between 0 and minus 0.1. So this will be 0.0. Corresponding to x3, it will be, please check, this will be 0.1. Corresponding to x4, this will be your 0.3. Okay, so this is the way actually we can find out the bounded difference. Okay, now I'm just going to concentrate on a particular the principle of the grammar of fuzzy set, which is very frequently used. Supposing that I'm modeling the input-output relationship of a process, you take the same example of temperature and humidity control of a room using one, say, fuzzy logic based your expert system for controlling the valve opening so that the temperature and humidity will remain in the comfortable zone. Okay, and supposing that Ax is the temperature which is defined in the universe of discourse of temperature, By is the humidity defined in the universe of discourse of humidity. So I have got now two different universes. Okay, one is the universe of discourse for the temperature, another is the universe of discourse for the humidity of room. Okay, how can you combine to take some decision? Okay, so what we do is we take the help of Cartesian product of two fuzzy sets, and that is denoted by ax multiplied by by. Now, to determine the Cartesian product, we use the rule for intersection, and we consider the mean operator or AND operator, which I have already discussed. Okay, so what we do is the Cartesian product of two fuzzy set ax and by, that is denoted by ax multiplied by by, such that it has got the mu that is denoted by mu a multiplied by b x comma y is nothing but the minimum of the two mu values, that is mu ax comma mu by. So we compare these two mu values and consider the minimum. Okay, now let us see with the help of one numerical example. Very simple. So I have got ax is nothing but this x1 comma 0.2, x2 comma 0.3, x3 comma 0.5, x4 comma 0.6, by y1 comma 0.8, y2 comma 0.6, y3 comma 0.3. ax is denoting temperature, by is denoting the humidity. Okay, how can you find out the Cartesian product? So what you'll have to do is you'll have to concentrate on x1, then its mu value you'll have to compare with mu value of corresponding to y1, then mu value corresponding to y2, then mu value corresponding to y3. Then I'll concentrate on x2. So mu value corresponding to x2 will be compared to mu value corresponding to y1. Then this will be compared the mu value of y2. This will be compared the mu value of y3. Then I'll concentrate on x3. I'll compare its mu value with the mu value of y1, then mu value of y2, mu value of y3, then I'll concentrate x4. So I'll compare this particular mu value with the mu value of y1, mu value of y2, and mu value of y3. Okay, and if I follow that, then you'll see I'll be able to find out all such elements of that particular final matrix. Okay, and if you see, this will be your A Cartesian product B. So this is the matrix which I'll be getting. Why do you need? We need because using the grammar of fuzzy set, we want to develop some input-output modeling tool. If this is the set of inputs, what will be the output? If this is the set of output which I'm going to reach, how to set the input values to achieve that particular the desired set of output. So this particular grammar is going to help us to develop that type of tool, which I'll be discussing after some time, might be in the next class. Okay. So I hope up to this is clear to all of you. Now there is another concept, and that concept I want to discuss so that in the next class I can start with the real world application and how to solve it using the grammar of fuzzy sets. Now composition of fuzzy relation. Now what I'm doing, now the method which I'm going to discuss, similar type of method is used in your MATLAB toolbox for the fuzzy logic. Some of you might have heard that MATLAB has got a separate toolbox for fuzzy logic, separate toolbox for neural network, separate toolbox even for genetic algorithm nowadays. Okay, and other optimization tools. Okay, now the grammar which I'm going to discuss here now is the principle which is followed in your development of MATLAB toolbox also. Supposing that I have got one fuzzy set, and supposing that it is represented with the help of some matrix, that is Aij, ith row, jth column. So I have got a matrix. I am going to take one numerical example. Another fuzzy set in matrix form, so Bjk, j rows, k columns. Okay, and these are expressed in matrix form. I'll show you how to do it. How to find out the composition of these two fuzzy relation. Okay, that is nothing but C, so that I can get some output corresponding to the two inputs. Okay, now in the matrix form, this C matrix, in the matrix form, that is nothing but Cik, that is your Aij matrix composition. This particular symbol denotes composition. Okay, composition Bjk. Now here Cik is nothing but maximum of the minimum between Aij comma Bjk. Okay, this is the way actually we try to find out what is Cik. Okay, I'm just going to take one numerical example, you'll understand. Okay, supposing that A in the matrix form, that is Aij, there are 2 rows and 2 columns. Okay, and B is another fuzzy set denoted by Bjk, and there are 2 rows, 3 columns. How to find out its composition? That is denoted by C, having the elements Ik. Okay, now what I do is, as I told, I'll have to find out each of the elements of this Cik matrix. I'm trying to find out what is C11. C11, according to this particular rule, so just a minute. So this particular rule, okay, Cik is max, min, Aij, Bjk. If you write down C11 means what? I equals to 1, k equals to 1. I equals to 1, k equals to 1. J varies from 1 to 2. Okay, if I follow that, then I'll be able to write down C11 is the maximum of the minimum between A11 comma B11 comma the minimum between A12 comma B21. Okay, so you try to find out the minimum between A11 and B11, the minimum between A12 and B21. A12 means what? First row, second column. B21 means what? Second row for B, first column. So if I just substitute the numerical values, the minimum between 0.2 and 0.3 is 0.2. Minimum between 0.3 and 0.1 is 0.1. Maximum between 0.3 and 0.1 is 0.2. Please spend some time on this. Okay, I'll be uploading, I think I have already uploaded the PPT on the tray, and all of you please practice. If you have any doubt, I'm there to clear your doubt. Similarly, you can find out C12. If by following the same principle, this will become 0.3. Then comes your C13. By following the same principle, you'll be getting 0.3. Then comes C21, 0.3, C22, 0.7, C23, 0.6, and finally you'll be getting the C matrix. Okay, it has got 2 rows and 3 columns, and all the elements you can see. This is the way actually your MATLAB toolbox, using this particular principle, your MATLAB toolbox is working. Because you do not know, you are giving information of the inputs, selecting a particular nature of membership function, okay, and you are getting some sort of output information. but inside that MATLAB package, all such things are going on. Okay. So, in fact, with this, I want to conclude the grammar of fuzzy sets. But before I stop today, one like very important thing which I'm going to discuss, all of you please concentrate. It will not take much time. So I've already discussed the properties of classical set or crisp set. If you remember, I think there are 10 properties or something, if I clear 10 or 11, okay, which I discussed in the last class. Now remember one thing, all the properties of classical sets are followed by the fuzzy sets except the last two. Okay, let me repeat. All the properties of classical set are followed by the fuzzy set except the last two. Okay, and that particular last two I'm going to discuss, and I'm just going to give you the reason why does it happen like this. Okay, now supposing that I've got, so this is actually one membership function distribution, one fuzzy set, that is your AX. Okay, now this triangle is going to represent AX, and this V-shaped thing is going to represent its complement. This you know, I've already discussed. Okay, now I'm going to concentrate on law of excluded middle, the last but one property of classical set. And according to that particular law of excluded middle, if you remember, A union A bar, that is A is the classical set or the crisp set, union its complement. If you just add them, what will happen? I'll be getting the universal set. It is clear. A union A bar, a particular classical set union its complement is nothing but the universe of discourse. Okay, but in fuzzy set you can see A union A bar is not equals to the universal set. Why does it happen like this? You see, this is your AX, this is your AX bar. If we use the principle of union, and if I start from here and move along this particular X, I'm moving along X, I'll be getting, according to the rule for union, a region denoted by your this particular shaded portion. Are you getting my point? But if you look into this minutely, I've got a white portion, a white region here. I've got another white region here. Those two white regions are not considered, okay, in fuzzy set. So it is going to violate the law of excluded middle. Okay, why does it happen? I'll tell you. Okay, but let me explain another rule which is also violated by the fuzzy set, and reason is exactly the same for the violation. Okay, for example, say law of contradiction. The same fuzzy set AX and its complement AX bar. According to the crisp set, A intersection A bar is of course null set. Okay, but here in fuzzy set, A intersection A bar is not equals to 0. You check. So this is your AX, this is your A bar X. You start from here, move along this particular X, follow the rule for intersection. Very easily, you will be getting this particular, the shaded portion, this particular shaded portion. Okay, and once you got this particular non-zero shaded portion, okay, that means your in fuzzy set A intersection A bar not equals to 0. Okay, now why does it happen like this? Huh? What is the reason? What is wrong with fuzzy set, and what is the reason why does it not follow the law of excluded middle and law of contradiction. The reason is very simple, and I think I put in my textbook also because I didn't find the reason in any other book. Okay, so the way I thought, I put this particular reason. Okay, and I'm just going to tell you why did it happen like this, and I'm just going to cite one incident which happened with me after giving this particular your explanation. Okay, now the reason behind going for the violation of this law of excluded middle and law of contradiction by Fuzzy set is as follows. Please listen to me very carefully. In Fuzzy set, a particular member belongs to its fuzzy set as well as its complement. Might be a particular color belongs to red with some membership function value. It also belongs to not red membership function value, not red membership with some other value. That is not true in your crisp set, but that is true in fuzzy set. Are you getting my point? So a particular color may be called red, perfectly red with some membership function value. Some other people will say, so it is red or it is almost red with some other membership function value. So fuzziness exists. You cannot avoid. I think all of you know. In the world, most of the things is unknown to all of us. We may declare we are very intelligent, we know many things, but you take it from me, we know very little of the whole universe. Our knowledge of the universe is still at the very primary level, although we can declare we are very intelligent and we know many things. You take it from me, our level of knowledge is very, very less. Most of the things in this universe we do not know. Still we live in this particular world. Okay, with this very little knowledge of the universe, we are able to live. We are fortunate. We are unable to know most of the things. Okay, so don't think that we know everything in this particular universe. Please remove that particular your concept from your mind. We know very little. Most of the things are unknown. Most of the things are fuzzy in nature. Okay. Now, I hope you got this particular idea. And that incidents I'm just going to tell you. Actually, what happened in one evaluation process, there was one expert. So that expert asked to one of our students regarding this particular fuzzy set, why does it not going to follow that particular the principle of classical set and all such things like law of contradiction and law of excluded middle. Okay, and that particular expert who came from outside, he asked that particular student in front of me that can you explain this particular reason why fuzzy set could not follow the law of contradiction and law of excluded middle. And that expert told that student that I'm not going to leave you because here Professor Pratyar is there who has explained nicely in his textbook the reason behind that. And if you cannot explain, it has to be explained once again by Professor Pratyar because I want to listen from his mouth. Okay, so at the end, I had to explain because the student could not. Okay, so I hope you have understood. So the reason behind not following the law of excluded middle and law of contradiction by this particular the fuzzy set. Now, before I conclude today, I am going to give you a fact. Okay, and I'm just going to conclude. It will not take more than 2 minutes. Okay, please bear with the situation. I thought I should tell you one fact. You see, in 1937, the concept of fuzzy set was introduced by American philosopher Max Black, as I told. But he is a philosopher. Okay, The moment he gave the concept, the traditional mathematician from US, they could not digest that particular thing. They told, no, there is nothing in this world called fuzzy set. It is only the crisp set. Okay. And he is a philosopher. Philosopher gives ideas. Whether you take or not, it does not matter. Okay. So he stopped. Then in the year 1965, as I told, that Professor Jade argued that in this particular world, there are many uncertainties which cannot be explained using the classical set or probability. And there are some other things, some other uncertainties. If we want to model those uncertainties, you'll have to go for the concept of fuzzy sets. Once again, he became the enemy of the traditional mathematicians. Okay, traditional mathematicians, particularly from US, they did not like him. Okay, but he is actually look-wise very strong, more than 6 feet height. Okay, height is more than 6 feet and very strong person. So I could see him once, and he did not stop. What happened? The idea of fuzzy sets went to Japan. Okay, now Japan, many people started working. Then came actually the concept of fuzzy logic, okay, fuzzy reasoning tool, fuzzy sets, sorry, the fuzzy clustering and all such things. Okay. Now, in the year 85-86, Professor Yamaka from Japan, I'm once again fortunate I could meet him once. He developed the electronic chips for the fuzzy logic, and he became world famous. Okay. Now, the idea could not be stopped there. From Japan, the idea came to South Korea, India, okay. Then comes your Germany, UK, might be UK slightly ahead of Germany or Germany ahead of UK, I do not know. Then actually the idea once again returned back to US. Now in US, in many universities, the concept of fuzzy set, fuzzy logic is taught as a regular course. But this is the cycle or the story or the fact of the history of fuzzy sets and fuzzy logic. And now in India, the first initiative that was taken by Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata, around 70-71, Professor Datta Majumdar, Professor Shankar Pal, okay, they took the initiative to work on the concept of fuzzy sets and fuzzy logic. Then other IITs, IISc Bangalore, other NITs, other universities, they started working on the concept of your fuzzy sets and fuzzy logic. But I was a bit late to start. I started learning in 95. Before 95, I did not know even F of fuzzy sets and fuzzy logic. Okay, so this is actually the fact or the story, or it is not the story. This is the fact of fuzzy sets and fuzzy logic. So let me stop here today. Once again, today time is not there. So if you have any doubt, you note it down, and I'm just going to clear your doubts, okay, at the beginning of the next class, that is on coming Wednesday. Okay, so coming Wednesday, we are going to meet. If you have any doubt, so please note it down and you ask me before I start that particular your class on coming Wednesday. So let me stop here today, but I'll give you enough opportunity to participate in discussion. I'll try my level best based on my limited knowledge. So to clear your doubts, 100%. Okay. So let me stop here today.